Good afternoon, everyone. Today's topic for the lecture is subcutaneous mycosis. Before going to today's actual topic, just shortly I will cover which are the fungal diseases, how they are described, so that you can understand easily which are the subcutaneous infections. So the fungal diseases are mainly classified on the depending upon the location, superficial, then cutaneous, subcutaneous, superficial infections, then cutaneous, subcutaneous, then deep or systemic. Superficial are the fungal infections which are localized to the stratum corneum, that is the dead part of the skin, and there are no any inflammatory reactions, redness, itching in these patients. These are the Pityriasis versicolor, Tinea nigra, white pityra, black pityra. Cutaneous, it involves the living part of the skin, and they are the dermatophytes. There was a lecture, the last lecture was on the dermatophytosis, which was covered by Dr. Patrisar. Today we are going to cover the subcutaneous fungal infections, which involve the mycetoma, chromomycosis, sporotrichosis, then phaeohyphomycosis. These are the common subcutaneous infections. As the name suggests, these are the fungal infections which cause lesions in the subcutaneous region of the body. So these are the little bit deeper than the skin, and these are mainly caused by the penetrating injuries like thorn prick and accidental injuries during work. The agents of subcutaneous mycosis usually inhabit the soil or the stagnant water, and they enter the skin by traumatic inoculation with the contaminated material and tend to produce the granulomatous lesions in the subcutaneous tissue. This includes mainly the mycetoma, sporotrichosis, rhinosporidiosis, chromoblastomycosis, and the phaeohyphomycosis. These are the important subcutaneous mycoses. Coming to the first, that is mycetoma. Mycetoma is a chronic, slow, progressive granulomatous infection of the skin and subcutaneous tissues. Clinically, it consists of the triad of the clinical features, that is the swelling, discharging sinuses, and the presence of granules in the discharge. Mycetoma is also known as Madura mycosis or Madura foot, as it was first described in the Madurai, South India by John Gill in 1842. So the name is given, which was derived from the Madura mycosis and Madura foot and mycetoma. These are all the names of the same condition. So don't get confused between the mycetoma, Madura mycosis, and Madura foot. Coming to the classification of mycetoma, based on the causative agents, mycetoma can be classified. Basically, there are only two types, but there is one third type which is less common. First is the mycetoma caused by the fungi. It is known as eumycetoma. And second is the mycetoma caused by the filamentous bacteria, that is actinomycetes. It is known as actinomycetoma. You can remember just by this, EF means eumycetoma caused by fungus, actinomycetoma A caused by B, that is bacteria, AB. You can remember like this, EF and AB. Botryomycosis, it is a rare third type of mycetoma caused by the bacteria such as Staphylococcus aureus. Then coming to the agents of the mycetoma and the types of grains they produce. Basically, these are the two types, eumycetoma and the actinomycetoma. Eumycetoma produce two types of granules, that is the black granules and the white granules. While actinomycetoma, which is caused by the filamentous bacteria, it produces two types of granules, that is white to yellow granules and pink to red granules. So this color of the granules is also very important in the diagnosis of the mycetoma, in the diagnosis of the type of the mycetoma. Eumycetoma, it produces black granules. Black granules are produced by the Madurella mycetomatis, Madurella gricia, Exophilia genselmi, Curvularia species. Then white granules are produced by Pseudolisteria boydii, Aspergillus nidulans, Acremonium species and Fusarium species. Actinomycetoma, white granules are produced by Nocardia species, Streptomyces somaliensis, Actinomadura maduri, and it is the most frequent cause of, significantly outnumbering the cases caused by the Nocardia. So you can remember Actinomadura maduri, it is the most frequent cause of the actinomycetoma. Pink red granules are produced by the Actinomadura pilleteri. Coming to the pathogenesis of the mycetoma or Madura foot, first there is the entry of pathogen into the injured site, mostly on the foot, and the lesion, the entry of the pathogen is mostly by the accidental trauma such as thorn prick or splinter type of injury. Lesion begins as a small subcutaneous swelling of the injured site in the subcutaneous region typically, and what happens next is there is multiplication of the fungus or the filamentous bacteria at that subcutaneous area, giving rise to the enlargement of the lesion. There is enlargement of the lesion and burrowing of the causative agent into the deeper tissues by the production of various enzymes by the causative agent. And after that what happens, the lesion got enlarged and there is bursting of the lesion, giving rise to the production of multiple sinuses on the surfaces, which are discharging viscid seropurulent fluid containing granules or grains, which are microcolonies of the causative agents. So the grains or the granules which are coming out of the sinus are the microcolonies or the actual organisms. Remember, clinical manifestations, as I have told previously, that there is a triad in the mycetoma. The triad consists of first tumor-like swelling. So you can see in these both pictures, there is a swelling of the foot, discharging sinuses. The discharging sinuses are multiple discharging sinuses, and the granules are seen in the discharge. So the morphology of the granule depends upon the causative agent. The color of the granule also depends upon the causative agent. For example, white granules, black granules, then pink colored granules, white to yellow colored granules. It depends upon the causative agent of the mycetoma. Clinical manifestations, comparison between the eumycetoma and the actinomycetoma. Eumycetoma, it is caused by the fungus, and this is the bacterial disease. Actinomycetoma. The tumor or the swelling in the eumycetoma is a single well-defined margins, and in actinomycetoma the tumor is, there are multiple tumor masses can be seen with ill-defined margins. Sinuses are, they appear late and few in number in eumycetoma. In actinomycetoma they appear early, numerous with raised inflamed opening. The discharge is watery or serous in fungal, that is eumycetoma. The discharge is purulent in actinomycetoma. The grains are black or white in the eumycetoma, while the grains are white or red in the actinomycetoma. Bone, they involve the bone, and the lesions are mainly osteosclerotic lesions in the eumycetoma, where the lesions are osteolytic in the actinomycetoma. What is the difference between osteosclerotic and osteolytic? In the osteosclerotic, the bone density is increased in the osteosclerotic, and the bone density is decreased in the osteolytic lesions. Grains contain the fungal hyphae, which are more than 2 micrometer in the diameter, and in actinomycetoma, there is presence of filamentous bacteria which is less than 2 micrometer diameter. Coming to the epidemiology, more prevalent in the developing countries like India and Africa, especially in the rural areas. In India, the most cases are reported from the Rajasthan. Young men ranging from 20 to 40 years are commonly involved in this disease. Field workers, farmers are prone to thorn prick injury and trauma, and mostly the cases are seen in these people, field workers and farmers. Prevalence, overall prevalence in the world is the 60% of the cases are actinomycetoma caused by the filamentous bacteria, while 40% the cases are because of the eumycetoma, that is purely because of the fungus. Other types of mycetoma which are rare, mycetoma of ear, seen in the persons which use the wicks for the removal of the ear wax. Mycetoma of the back, the persons carrying goods like wood, grain bags, stones, etc. on the back. Mycetoma of the head and neck, the person which carry bundles of wood on head. So these are the rare types of the mycetoma. The most common type of mycetoma is, the site is foot. Diagnosis of mycetoma. First is radio diagnosis, X-ray, CT scan, MRI. This is the CT picture of the foot of the mycetoma foot patient. You can see the lesions here. There is destruction of the bone and that bone density is typically decreased. So these are the typical lytic lesions, osteolytic lesions, which are common in the actinomycetoma. Coming to the lab diagnosis, proper history of the patient should be taken first. Gross examination of the lesion is done by a microbiologist. Specimens which are collected are the grains which are coming out of the sinus, granules, pus, exudates or biopsy, lesions cleaned with antiseptic, and grains collected by pressing the sinus from the periphery. So the specimen mainly collected are grains and the exudate or the discharge coming out of the sinus. Gross examination of the grains is done. Size of the grain, shape, texture and color. Most important part in the examination of grains is the color. Macroscopic appearance of the granules such as color, size, shape, texture is examined. Granules are thoroughly washed in sterile saline and crushed between two slides and examined. So the method is crushing of the grains between the two slides. The two slides are taken and the grain is taken in between the two slides and it is crushed and it is stained depending upon the causative agent, suspected causative agent, we have to stain it. For example, if eumycetoma is suspected by the granules morphology, KOH mount is done. In eumycetoma we can see 2 to 6 micrometers, 2 to 6 micrometers wide interwoven hyphae with large swollen cells, chlamydospores at the margin of the lesion. If actinomycetoma is suspected by granule morphology, gram staining is done. Actinomycetoma, filaments with diameter of 0.5 to 1 micron, cocoid to bacillary forms can be seen in the actinomycetoma. So the main difference in these two is in eumycetoma the hyphae are seen, typical hyphae are seen which are having 2 to 6 micrometer diameter. Here there is a filamentous bacteria, the diameter is very less as compared to the fungal hyphae. So this is the differentiating feature microscopically. Gram staining shows gram-positive branching filamentous bacteria embedded in the grain material which gives the appearance of the sun ray. So typically the question can be asked, sun ray appearance, it is typically given in the actinomycosis. Modified acid-fast staining can be done with 1% sulfuric acid as a decolorizing agent. In that we can see pink colored filamentous bacteria, and it is a diagnostic of Nocardia species. So only Nocardia species out of the filamentous bacteria is a acid fast with 1% sulfuric acid, and other actinomycetes are non-acid fast. So in that bacterial causes of actinomycosis or in actinomycosis causative agents, the acid fast organisms are Nocardia and rest are the non-acid fast. Culture, different sets of media are used, both possibilities of fungi and bacteria. So we have to use the bacterial media as well as the fungal media. When actinomycetoma is suspected on direct examination, wash the grains with several times with normal saline and then inoculate on saber or dextrose agar with antibiotics. Without antibiotics, blood agar, LJ medium and brain heart infusion agar. So this is a bacterial, suspected bacterial causative agent. So we have to use blood agar, LJ, brain heart infusion agar, and when we are suspecting the cause is fungus, that is Eumycetoma, wash the grains with several times with normal saline with antibiotics, that is penicillin, and inoculate it on saber or dextrose agar with antibiotics. Actidione is not added. Intubation of these media is done at 25 and 37 degrees Celsius. So we have to keep in mind that the lesion can be caused by both bacteria as well as the fungi. So both media are used, media for bacteria and media for fungi, and depending upon the direct morphology or direct examination, we can decide which media should be used. Treatment of mycetoma. Eumycetoma, oral ketoconazole, itraconazole, amphotericin B for Mozzarella and Fusarium species. Actinomycetoma. Treatment of actinomycetoma is mainly antibiotics, sulfonamide, tetracycline, streptomycin, amoxicillin, clavulanic acid and amic acid. And the third rare type of the mycetoma, that is Botryomycosis. It is similar condition but caused by the bacteria caused by routine bacteria. So what is the difference between actinomycetoma and Botryomycosis is that actinomycosis is caused by the filamentous bacteria, while the Botryomycosis, it is caused by the routine bacteria like Staph aureus, most commonly by Staph aureus, followed by Pseudomonas aeruginosa, coagulose negative, Staph, E. coli, Proteus vulgaris, etc. There are two types in the Botryomycosis, cutaneous and visceral. Coming to the next subcutaneous mycosis, that is sporotrichosis. Sporotrichosis, or it is also known as Rose Gardner's disease, caused by the Sporothrix kenki, a dimorphic fungus. You must be knowing that dimorphic fungus, it is having the two morphologies at two different temperatures. At 37 degrees Celsius, it will give the appearance of the yeast, and at 25 degrees Celsius, it will give an appearance of a mold. So it is a dimorphic fungus, most common in USA, the fungus is found on plant, thorns and timber, and the fungus enters by the thorn pricks or other minor injuries, mostly involves the upper limbs. Pathogenesis, spores of the Sporothrix kenki are introduced into the skin following minor trauma caused by thorn prick or splinter injury. The fungus has the ability to produce some enzymes like serine proteinase or aspartic proteinase, which help in the local invasion, which cause the destruction of the surrounding tissue, and there is a local invasion and spread of the fungus into the surrounding tissue. So this is the mechanism how the fungus spreads into the subcutaneous tissue with the help of these enzymes. Spread from primary site to the lymph nodes through the lymphatics. Clinical manifestations. Sporotrichosis is a chronic subcutaneous granulomatous disease. Incubation period is 3 weeks. There are two types. The most common type is lymphocutaneous type of sporotrichosis. It accounts for 80% of the all sporotrichosis cases. Nodulo-ulcerative lesions, which are painless, occur along the lymphatics. There are some ulcers and the swellings which are painless, typically painless. Lymph nodes become enlarged, suppurative, indurated, and have cord-like feeling on the palpation. Other rare clinical types of the sporotrichosis are osteoarticular type, pulmonary type of sporotrichosis, then disseminated sporotrichosis, and then fixed cutaneous type of sporotrichosis. So most common type is, you have to remember, is lymphocutaneous type, which accounts for 80%, which will produce the skin lesions, which will produce the painless ulcer along the lymphatics. Also there are swellings, enlarged lymph nodes, which become enlarged, suppurative, indurated, and cord-like feeling. Lab D of sporotrichosis. Specimens which are collected are pus, exudate, aspirate from the nodules, curettage or swabs from the open lesions. Then direct examination is done. Direct examinations are done after doing the gram staining of the smear prepared from pus or exudate. We can see the gram-positive irregularly stained yeast cells in the gram stain preparation. The preparations which are prepared from the tissues shows organisms which appear as a cigar-shaped bodies. These are yeast cells, 3 to 5 micrometers in diameter. Then the typical feature of the sporotrichosis lesion is the asteroid bodies in the lesion. In that there is central fungus cell surrounded by the refractile eosinophilic halo it is called as Splender-Hoepli phenomenon due to the immune complex deposition around the organism. So the refractile eosinophilic halo is because of the deposition of the immune complex surrounding the fungus cell, and it is known as Splender-Hoepli phenomenon. Culture. Inoculation is done on the two sets of Sabouraud-Dextrose agar and brain-heart infusion agar, and the media are incubated at 25 and 37 degrees Celsius. As this is a dimorphic fungus, we have to keep the media at 25 and 37 degrees Celsius. Smear from the culture is done, or the lactophenol cotton glue preparation is done. In that we can see the septate hyphae, which are very thin and which carry the flower-like clusters. You can see here typical flower-like cluster of small conidia on the delicate sterigmata. It is the characteristic of the sporotrichosis lesion. LPCB mount. This is the photograph of LPCB mount. We can see the septate, very thin, delicate hyphae, and there is flower-like structure, cluster of the conidia. Coming to the next type, that is rhinosporidiosis. Rhinosporidiosis is again it is a chronic granulomatous disease, which is most commonly seen in the mucous membranes of the body, and most common site of this rhinosporidiosis is the nose, which produces a large friable polyps in the nose, followed by other sites like conjunctiva. It is caused by a hydrophilic protist, Rhinosporidium siberi. The source of the infection is the stagnant water. So the stagnant water comes in contact with the nasal mucosa of the person and cause the disease. Distribution is mainly in the India, Sri Lanka. In India, it is commonly seen in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh. High incidence among the people who frequently bath along with the domestic animals in ponds, tanks, and lakes. And as you know, this organism is seen in the stagnant water. So there is contact between the mucous membrane of the nose and the water containing the causative agent, and which will give rise to this rhinosporidiosis. Clinical features: it is a chronic recurrent granulomatous disease of the mucous membranes characterized by the development of friable polyps in the nose, mouth or ear. These are the typical lesions. You can see here the lesion which is developed in the nasal mucosa, and the polyp is so big that it is coming out of the nostril and obstructing the airway. So in that case we have to operate the case and remove the polyp. There are some miscellaneous forms like buccal cavity, vagina, vulva, penis, urethra or rectum, but these are the rare. So the most common site is nasal polyp or the nose. This is again can be seen conjunctival polyp because of the rhinosporidiosis. Laboratory diagnosis: the causative agent Rhinosporidium sebae cannot be cultivated in the laboratory artificially. Direct examination, in that specimen collection is done. In that FNAC is done mainly. Then biopsy of the lesion, nasal washings can be done and examined. The direct examination can be done, which shows the sporangia filled with the thousands of sporangiospores. So this big structure is sporangium, one sporangium, and in that there are thousands of small sporangiospores. Sporangiospores having the diameter 6 to 9 micrometers embedded in a stroma of connective tissue and capillaries. So this is the microscopic feature of the typical lesion of rhinosporidiosis polyp. So these are the other sporangia containing again sporangiospores inside. Treatment: radical surgery, excision of the polyp. After that, after excision, we have to do the electrocautery. Medical therapy is not recommended and it is not useful, but still DDS, dapsone is used. In these cases, recurrences are very common. Coming to the next type of subcutaneous mycosis is the chromoblastomycosis, caused by the Dematteaceous fungus. Dematteaceous means it is pigmented black colored, so it is known as Dematteaceous fungus. It is caused by the Dematteaceous fungi confined to the subcutaneous tissue of the feet and lower legs, commonly seen in the barefoot agricultural workers and woodcutters. So again, the same group of people are involved: barefoot agricultural workers, woodcutters. Commonest fungi are Phyllophora verrucosa and Cladosporium species. This is the typical lesion of the chromoblastomycosis, also called as verrucous dermatitis. It is a warty cutaneous nodular lesion which resembles flots of cauliflower. You can see the nodular lesion on the skin, commonly seen on the feet and lower leg, and the lesion frequently gets ulcerated because of the injury. Laboratory diagnosis: direct examination of the lesion. Specimens are collected first. Specimen collection: dry crusty material from the surface of the lesion is collected. KOH weight mount is done. In that we can see these are the dark brown multicellular structures, 5 to 12 micrometer in diameter, that divide by transverse septation. So this is the KOH mount of the lesion. Specimen collected and KOH mount is done. This is a typical lesion, typical findings, observations. Dark brown multicellular structures, 5 to 12 micrometer in diameter. These are called as sclerotic bodies or medlar bodies, copper pennies bodies or muriform cells. These cells are known as sclerotic bodies, medullar bodies, copper penis bodies, or muriform cells. Direct examination histopathology. Specimen collected is tissue biopsy from the lesion. Stains used are H&E, Ginsa and Fontana Mason stain. Sclerotic bodies very well seen in the lesion. You can see here these are the sclerotic bodies typically seen in the chromoblastomycosis. Sclerotic medullar bodies, characteristic tissue form facilitates survival of the organism in the host tissue. So these are the medullar bodies or sclerotic bodies. Treatment of the chromoblastomycosis. Poor response to the available therapies. Cryotherapy, thermotherapy, laser therapy, chemotherapy and surgery are commonly tried. Fluocytosine can be used. Coming to the pheohypomycosis. Coming to the last variant in the subcutaneous mycosis, or the last condition from today's lecture, also called as dematteous, caused by dematteous fungus. Again the same, dematteous means pigmented, black colored pigmented fungus. Causes infection mainly in the debilitated and immunodeficient host, can cause cutaneous, subcutaneous as well as deep infections. Clinical types: brain abscess, subcutaneous or intramuscular lesions which will give rise to abscesses or cyst formation, and cutaneous lesions. Diagnosis is mainly by KOH mount of the cyst aspirates. Abscess, pigmented hyphae can be seen in the KOH mount. Why pigmented? Because the lesion is mainly caused by dematteous fungus, which is a black colored pigmented fungus. Treatment is local excision, intravenous amphotericin B, oral fluocytosine. So these are the common subcutaneous mycosis which are important for you. So which are they? First is the mycetoma, then sporotrichosis, then chromoblastomycosis, Sporothrix-Kenke, and pheohypomycosis. These are the subcutaneous mycosis. Commonly asked questions from the subcutaneous mycosis topic. You can get a full question on mycetoma. In that, classify various fungal diseases and describe in detail about mycetoma. Short notes are commonly asked on mycetoma, sporotrichosis, and rhinosporidiasis. So this is all about today's topic, that is subcutaneous mycosis.